In all of my years when I was a camp counselor or a basketball trainer and coach, as well as having babysat for a bunch of kids over the years, I was always amazed because as much as I always did my best to teach the kids and instill good values into them and positivity and knowledge into them, and I know that many of them will attest to that to this day, often they taught me a lot about life as well. I've also always prided myself on being a kid at heart and staying a kid, and believe that this idea of growing up, meaning that we have to stop having fun, stop being creative, live in fear of judgment, etc., that doesn't work for me.
I don't think so.
So I will always be a kid at heart. Of course, I also know when to be more mature and when to flip that switch, and this is an essential aspect of growing up.
I'm peeing in the shower. Go.
But I want to show you the value that so many of us can learn from kids and from having a kid mindset. Kids are actually some of the best teachers because I believe that kids are the most down to earth, both literally and figuratively. They're also the closest to God, I believe, because they just came from God as far as I see it. So in today's episode, I want to show you guys the value in being and acting like a kid, and why anyone who's ever said to you that it's time to grow up may actually have the wrong idea about life. Let's dive deeper now. Also, make sure to stay till the end to hear a chapter from my book on this topic, which is called Opposite of Adults. Anyways, let's dive deeper now.
Give me a...
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Weiss. For you guys who know that must be not subscribe to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on this video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through by Jared Weiss. All links purchased are on my website, which is jaredweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me. As always, any support is very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper into this topic now of the 5 biggest lessons that kids get right about life that adults actually get wrong. So to start things off, I actually have a very interesting and powerful Instagram post which addresses this topic. So the first line of the post says, if your inner child is still alive as an adult, you won, you kept your magic, you did not let the world kill it. Very powerful. Growing up as a scam gang, don't get it twisted, is the second slide. Then it says, it is funny how so much of finding yourself as an adult is literally just coming back to what you used to love as a kid. So true. Now, how true is this? Think about it. What happens when most people get older?
Too old!
They forget how to play, they become overconsumed with the whole material world, and so consumed with just making money, and they become overly stressed out in this pursuit of money. Of only money. So what does so much of healing and finding yourself actually come down to? It's about getting back to all the things that we loved doing as a kid, whether it's getting outside, whether it's playing sports, whether it's being creative, making up games, not taking life so seriously. So who really has the right idea on how to live? Is it actually all the grown-ups? Or is this idea of growing up actually a scam, as the post said? So now let's dive into the 5 things that kids get right about the world that adults don't. So the first thing that kids get right about the world that adults don't is they don't worry about what's realistic when it comes to setting goals. This whole idea of setting realistic goals and being skeptical about what's possible is taught to them. Whether by society or whether by parents who want to limit their beliefs, this isn't taught to them when they're born.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
From a young age, what are so many of us told? You can't do that, people like us aren't meant for those things. Start setting more realistic goals. Yet, do any of us actually look up to average people? Or do we look up to and value the people who went for it? And to made those incredible, impossible dreams their reality? Or even the ones who tried and failed? I'd be much more inclined to look up to them versus the ones who always played it safe. Because what could I learn from the ones who always played it safe? Not a whole lot. So kids will often tell you their biggest dreams out loud without even a second thought as to whether or not that's possible.
I can become anything I set my mind to.
Or a football-playing king in space.
Because in their minds, anything is possible. And that's something I've always believed as well, no matter how many people call me crazy. And this is why anytime I've had a chance to inspire or be a role model to kids, I've never not once said, oh, that's not possible, you can't do that, you need to start thinking smaller. And I would always encourage them by telling them my biggest goals and my craziest dreams in order to inspire them to do the same.
Whoa, can't? When did that word enter your vocabulary?
And oftentimes I would actually hear what they were saying and tell myself, ooh, I actually need to be thinking bigger. And this is what I think is one of the most amazing things that my parents did for me, which is they've always believed in me. And this led to me believing in my utmost potential as well, which is why I still continue to set impossible goals to this day and expect to achieve them. Next thing that kids get right that adults don't is they don't live in fear of constant judgment. They have no fear in getting on the table and dancing in front of everyone because they don't have this concept of societal standards. Don't you think this is like a much more fun and rewarding way to live life? I do. On the flip side, if you're constantly wondering, ooh, I wonder what this person's thinking of me. If I do this, this person might think I'm weird or crazy.
You're not crazy.
And they won't approve of me. But if you get rid of this need for external validation and realize that you being yourself to the fullest is enough, and the right people are going to value that, doing this will release the full you, and you will be of so much value to the world. You were not too much for anyone, so it's time to unleash the full true you, and those who can't appreciate that aren't worth a second thought anyways.
Unleash the beast, God!
Number 3. The third thing that kids get right about the world that adults don't is the ability to move on quickly from bad situations or bad feelings. They don't spend all the time dwelling on the past. When I was a counselor or when I was babysitting, it was crazy because there were all these times where 1 minute a kid would be hysterical crying and literally 5 seconds later they're running on the soccer field smiling from ear to ear, almost as if what had just happened never actually happened.
You didn't see anything.
How many adults out there will allow one bad thing that happened during that day to ruin their whole day? And I'm sure we've all been guilty of this at one point or another, but this is why living in the moment is so key and something that we all need to work on. What's done is done, and worrying about the future is actually going to take away from today's happiness. All we have is this moment, the present moment, so what are we going to choose to do with it?
Today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
The fourth thing that kids get right that adults don't is they remember to celebrate all the little things in life. All the small, tiniest moments that so many adults forget about, they're going to celebrate.
I'm walking up the down escalator.
Whoopee cushion or non-whoopee cushion?
Adults will often need this grand occasion in order to celebrate or to smile or to allow themselves to even be happy. But with kids on the other hand, it's like chicken nuggets for lunch, yay! Or pancakes for breakfast is enough to get them high-fiving each other or singing or celebrating. I remember like back when I was in elementary school, my best friend at the time and I used to like high-five and go crazy every time it was teriyaki chicken nuggets for lunch at school. Or even just knowing that like one of us was going over the other's house that day. When I used to babysit this one kid, and he may even be watching this video, he used to get so excited whenever I would make him his favorite drink, which was like a combination of lemonade, seltzer, apple cider, and a fruit juice drink, I think. I'm not judging. He absolutely loved it, and he would always ask me to put it in his favorite cup, which had a bendy straw in it, and once again, this was like a reason for him to celebrate and to be so happy. Or when I was a counselor, or was babysitting, and we would win with every game we just made up, you would think we just won the World Championship, or the Super Bowl.
I'm going to Disneyland!
With kids, no occasion is too small to celebrate. And this is another thing. They're also masters at creating simple games, or complex games, out of something that may be so simple. I mean, they don't need tons of space to create a game. Me and my younger brother all these years, we used to play this like blocking game, which all it required was a mini basketball and a mini hoop. Or we used to do hockey penalty shootouts in our basement. And this is why my best friends and I are still creating games to this day. Whether it's a bowling tournament, or low rim basketball, or soccer PK shootout challenges. Because competition means that like the winner gets to celebrate, and even just the thrill of competition is something we could all use more of in our lives. And this doesn't just go for sports, but whatever you're doing, striving to be better every day, and setting goals for yourselves is great for overall happiness as well as finding purpose in your life. Or it's like another example of this is when me and my parents were babysitting for my older brother's dog the other day. You should see the way his eyes light up at dog treats or even just seeing one of his toys. And this is exactly how it is with kids too. Get back to appreciating all the little things in life. Now the fifth and final characteristic of kids that like they get right that adults don't get right is they're not afraid to let you know exactly how they're feeling. Once again, due to this fear of judgment or wanting to appear strong, there's this idea that like you're not supposed to show your emotions, you're not supposed to show your feelings, you're not supposed to cry here.
Oh no, we're crying at school!
You can't be upset about this situation, but all this stuff is taught to us over time. And what does it lead to? It often leads to bottling up emotions, or a lot of people will get into destructive habits, whether it's drinking or doing drugs, because they were never actually taught how to cope with their feelings and how to feel in order to heal. They were always just taught to escape their feelings that they were told not to feel. So sometimes we all need a good cry, and we do need to give ourselves permission to feel how we're feeling. Because good emotional health is not about suppressing our feelings, getting rid of our emotions, or forcing ourselves to be happy.
Thanks, but we've got all the happiness we need. Happy, happy, happy.
It's essential, as I'm always saying, to feel in order to heal, and to allow all emotions, and this in turn will lead to us experiencing more happiness and better overall mental health. And now to close up this video, I have a special treat for you guys, which is I want to read one of my favorite chapters from my book, which is actually called Opposite of Adults. And this chapter, of course, relates to the topic from this video perfectly. So this does happen to be one of the shorter chapters, so I'm actually going to read the whole thing. So, Chapter 54, Opposite of Adults. I say, kids are amazing. There's so much to be learned from them. For starters, they are masters of living in the moment. One minute they could be upset and crying, and the next running around with joy and laughter, completely forgetting about what made them upset. They also know how to have fun, as they are naturally creative. They can make a great game in a short amount of time, and no matter how simple it sounds, they can have the most fun playing it. Kids will celebrate every little great thing that happens. Something as simple as chicken nuggets for lunch is enough to get kids high-fiving and jumping up and down. Kids will dream the biggest dreams and not care what others tell them can't be done, because they value the imagination. They don't care what seems realistic or not, because they believe they can accomplish anything. Every year since I was a camp counselor, I've always prided myself on being a kid and used to be considered as another camper in my group. I wanted to be a role model for these kids and to inspire them. They always told me that I was the best because I get them and I understood them. Whenever there was a problem, I would have this unbelievable ability to put myself in their shoes and treat them the way I would have wanted to be treated. In other words, I tried to become the hero that I needed and loved when I was younger. And in recent years, this has held up as I have had numerous former campers of mine, referring to the ones who I hadn't been totally in touch with, who would reach out to me when they were going through some depression. They came to me because they felt I was the only one who could help them get through it. And after these talks, they would tell me how much better they felt. I am 1000% a kid at heart, and I feel like and try to stay a kid because of all the reasons I mentioned. Of course, I typically act more mature and know how to be more serious and turn the switch, but I try to take the best qualities from kids and employ them with my own behavior. I never really felt like an adult because I never wanted to get away from the things I love, never wanted to abandon my creativity and imagination and appreciation for all the little things in life. Whenever I find myself taking things too seriously, I know I have to get back to the little Jared who just did things because they were fun. I love creating games when I'm with my friends, and I never stop believing that anything is possible. I never curse because I don't like the way those words make me feel. Not saying you have to be the same way. I enjoy good, clean fun and try to be an optimist as best as possible. Life will occasionally try to bring you down and tell you not to be happy. And society will try to get you to grow up and tell you to sit down and shut up and listen to what we have to say, and will tell you to take a job you do not like and to go out drinking and do drugs for fun because you want to escape from life. Of course, life has responsibilities and no one can be happy all the time, but I'm telling you to act younger and be a kid again. Life has so many great moments as long as you're open to them. It's meant to be lived to the fullest, and you were supposed to enjoy yourself and have fun with what you were doing. It's okay to get knocked down, but it's not okay to stay down. The person who never gets knocked down will never know what it's like to have to pick themselves up again and to claw their way back up. Be like the kid who gets back up on the bike every time after falling and scraping his knee, but doesn't let it deter him. Be like the kid who keeps shooting the basketball even though he just missed his last 100 shots, but believes that the next shot is going in. I appreciate the bountiful positivity that acting like a kid gives me, and I think that everyone could benefit from these qualities no matter what age you are. So, if you guys want to read more, of course, buy the book, fight through it. Anyways, I feel like that chapter actually sums up this video perfectly. So anyways guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, be sure to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. Get back to being a kid, have fun, play games, stop taking life so seriously. I will catch you guys next time, peace.